Hi, my name's Eric. Welcome back to my channel. Let's talk once again about Kylie Minogue. Today, as you requested, I'm going to react to her 2007 album X and break down the album's lyrics. This is Kylie's 10th album, hence the Roman numeral X for 10, and as some of you told me in the comments, this was her big return to music after beating breast cancer, and so with that in mind, this album I think can take one of two approaches. Either confront that dark period in her life head on, or just kind of ignore it and be an escapist fantasy that we know Kylie's music to be. Either way, I am so excited to listen to this album because I've actually been listening to quite a lot of Kylie's music lately from the albums that I have reacted to so far on this channel. Her music is so much fun and so optimistic, and those are some of the things that I'm going to be looking for in this album. I'm going to be listening to the standard 13-track version of this album. I know that there are multiple deluxe versions that exist that range in length from 14 to 20 tracks. I don't know which one is the definitive deluxe version, but I would be more than happy to make another video reacting to some Kylie bonus tracks from this album and from any of her other albums. But before I dive in, let me know in the comments down below what Kylie Minogue album I should react to next. Check the description box for a link to a list of nonprofits you can donate to. Please subscribe to be here when I post new videos every week, and hit the bell icon to be notified when my videos go live. Without further ado, track number 1 is Two Hearts, a Kish Mauve cover. Got some rock going on. Okay, yeah, that was really cool. Definitely a change of pace. It reminded me stylistically and tonally more of her work from Impossible Princess, which appropriately was the most insecure and anxious of her albums that I've listened to so far. Knowing the context in which Kylie recorded this song, her sort of cautious return to music after a troubling period, it makes sense to start the album from a similar place of insecurity. Because the song itself is generally a love song, but it has all these moments that make the love feel wrong. And possibly the strangest decision is that Kylie opens the album by saying, "You make me feel invisible." This is her front and center saying that she feels like she's lost her identity, presumably in this relationship. And then that's immediately undercut when Kylie says that this love makes her feel so wonderful and that her lover makes her day, and then she flips back when she says, "I'm deep in the dark of you." So when she talks about two hearts beating as one, it feels to me like it's not just about this type of unification, but also about her feeling of not being her own person anymore. So this could just be Kylie's own insecurity, or a moment where she realizes that this relationship isn't right for her and that she has to move on. Either way, maybe we'll find out on track number 2, Like a Drug. Okay, that was really fun and definitely a return to Kylie's signature sound with this dance pop. It also definitely sounded like 2007 dance pop with that sort of more ominous, edgy tone to it, which I really enjoy. And thematically, the song reminds me a lot of Everything is Beautiful from Aphrodite, which is one of my favorite songs of hers, because on that song, she basically says, let's go through the motions to make me feel like we're really in love. And here on the chorus, she says, make me feel like I can make it real. She's pushing something that may or may not have substance to it. She is physically attracted, but not necessarily emotionally in love. And that, of course, is why it's like a drug. It's physically addictive, but beyond that, maybe it's not doing a whole lot for her. I think later when she says, you got me hooked, get me on the floor, there are a couple layers here where first she's talking about losing power. Her being on the floor under him is pretty unambiguously an image of her losing control. And second, there are these dance music puns where in so much dance pop, especially Kylie's, the dance floor is the place where emotions are expressed. So Kylie has yet to figure out whether this relationship really is working, just like on Aphrodite. Track number 3 is In My Arms. Okay. Ooh. I'm listening. That was a fun one. I really enjoyed the instrumental, especially on the bridge and at the beginning of the song. It almost felt like it was going to be like an electroclash song, but then the chorus was so bright and airy and sunny. And fittingly, this song is just a more optimistic take on the last, where we're still looking at this relationship through these dance music metaphors, just like on albums like Fever and Disco. So as usual, when Kylie says something like get a groove on, like on her song Real Groove, it doesn't just mean dancing. I think a really telling moment in this song is the second pre-chorus when Kylie says, you and I are a guilty pleasure. Why guilty? So that's ominous, and then the chorus itself is structured around questions that, of course, go unanswered. We have a situation where Kylie is moving from physical attraction to emotional love, and the tension comes from waiting to find out whether her partner is following her there. So maybe we'll find out on track number 4, Speakerphone. Music make you lose control. Go on and on. Okay. That was a banger. Something that this song does so well that I love in the best pop music is that every moment in the song is catchy. Every part of the song, whether it's a chorus or a verse, is its own hook. That's something that Jessie Ware does really well on her most recent album, What's Your Pleasure, and that's also something that a lot of the best songs on Britney Spears' album Blackout did. That album, of course, was released just under a month before this one, and looking at the credits, this was produced and co-written by Bloodshy and Avant, who also were involved in Blackout, including songs like Piece of Me. Again, it uses the same lyrical device as those last couple songs, which is especially apparent on the first verse when she says drop your socks and grab your mini boombox. For a second I was like, why, if you're going to dance, are you taking off your socks? And then of course I realized, and then I thought, would her partner be super flattered by her saying that he has a mini boombox? I think the chorus works really well too. It's just these flashes of images of dance and of the body, almost to the effect of like catching glimpses of someone through a strobe light on the dance floor. So again, no new lyrical territory, just another variation on a theme that I think lets us see dance taking her one step closer to this real love. Track number 5 is Sensitized. Okay, we've got a nice sort of variety of styles on this album. The instrumental on this song almost made me feel like I was in a pub and someone started playing the fiddle and then everyone started doing a jig. I don't know if that's the vibe the song was going for, but that's where my mind went. I thought based on the last song that we might be moving closer to a sort of equal power dynamic, but no, Kylie still does not have power here. She says things like, "You got me messed up, but I like it that way," talks about pleasure and pain, and "you got me begging for more." And on their own, these are just sort of flirty come-ons, but knowing from the context of this album that Kylie has not had power in this relationship on any of the other songs, it's a little concerning. Like, sort of from a story perspective, her character has not had a moment where she feels in control. She is still vulnerable. That being said, what Kylie, the real-life person, has control of is this story, and the approach that she has taken so far definitely is an escapist one. She has not really acknowledged cancer at all on this album so far. This is purely about music and dance and love, as all of her music is. This isn't a qualified return. This isn't a comeback album painted over with these dark experiences. This is all indulgent romantic fantasy, and Kylie is turning her back on those struggles. Track number 6 is Heartbeat Rock.
Lovers in the backseat, boys in the back streets, girls in the tight wash figure hugging blue jeans. And I've been around the world, but I'm not those other girls. I'm feeling special. Do you like what you see? Can I be your fantasy? 'Cause I can make your heartbeat rock, heartbeat rock. I can make your heartbeat rock. Baby, show me what you
All right. I feel like that type of spoken chorus can, depending on your level of control over that style, swing one of two ways, either really cool or really silly. And I think Kylie comfortably lands at a sort of middle ground of tongue in cheek, but still definitely flirty. Lyrically, again, just variations on a theme, but finally, it feels like Kylie is taking a little bit of control here. Of course, instead of her being addicted to her partner or feeling inseparable from him, she can make his heartbeat rock. This relationship is still probably an illusion or at least just infatuation because she does say that she can be his fantasy, but halfway through the album we have this subtle little turn that may or may not be consequential, but we'll just have to see. Also, I don't know if anyone else's mind went to the song Bedrock by Drake and Nicki Minaj and Lil Wayne and a bunch of other artists, but this song preceded that one by about 3 years, so no relation. Track number 7 is The One. Ooh, I like this.
Starlight shimmers everywhere. There's a certain something in the air. Glimmering under neon lights. I can see the look that's in your eyes. Like a shooting star in a galaxy. Love me, love me, love me, love me. Since racing now I'm feeling high. Never-ending stars tonight. Circling and we're getting close. Can you imagine? Just suppose. Close to touch like Michelangelo. Love me, love me, love me, love me. Can you hear me? I'm connecting with you. Can you feel me? I was wondering, will you reach me? Can you hear me? Will you reach me?
Yep, that to me is peak Kylie, so euphoric and beautiful. I really, really enjoyed that song. I really like the use of repetition on the chorus of this song. It reminds me a lot of how an artist like Mitski or Charlie XCX will use repetition to convey a sense of passion or desperation. I think Kylie mentioned stars on at least one of the other tracks so far, but this song is all about the cosmos and fate and the universe. Of course, the stars are a symbol of fate. And on the second verse, Kylie says, close to touch like Michelangelo. This is a reference to the creation of Adam, which of course is a story of God's will, right? Kylie is saying that the forces of the universe and the divine are just about to bring her and her lover together. So over the course of the album so far, we've had this movement from the physical to the emotional, and now even to the spiritual. Track number 8 is No More Rain.
Have you ever thought that the sky was just endlessly dark? And then you dive in. How quickly you forget. I'm back in the light, so warm. I feel it like a wave of love coming over me. It's got the sound of you ringing in my ears. Got rainbow colors and no more rain. We were dreamt you were flying until you look down. Feet firmly on the ground. Funny how life can unfold. Oh yeah, I feel it like a wave of love coming over me. Sun coming up on another day. Got a second-hand chance, gonna do it again. Got a second-hand chance.
Definitely feels very spacey here. Nice. I think it's interesting how as the album is becoming more and more optimistic, we're moving increasingly into this celestial place sonically and lyrically. And as part of that optimism, we have these big changes that call back to the opener, where there Kylie felt invisible and like she was in the dark and that she was drowning and needed to come up for air. Here she sees the sky and everything is bright, and she, instead of feeling like she's drowning, is being washed over by a wave of love. The second verse is interesting, I think. Kylie says, "Have you ever dreamed you were flying until you looked down? You never moved an inch, feet firmly on the ground." Again, a dream can be an illusion, but I think in this more optimistic context, this disconnect has more to do with being able to feel the euphoria of flying or of love while also being grounded and safe. Kylie isn't overwhelmed and powerless anymore. She feels secure in how this relationship is moving forward. Track number 9 is All I See. We have a return of the harp from Speakerphone. Okay, that was really sweet. Definitely more R&B influence that I'm used to from Kylie, but I think it suited her really well. So Kylie is getting even more intense. Now that her connection has deepened and deepened, she's kind of stuck in the world of this relationship. She's skipping on plans with friends, and of course her lover is all she sees. As usual, I'm just a curmudgeon, but this kind of feels like the same problem that she had on the opener of being lost in the dark of this relationship, right? There's also this progression on the chorus where she says there's nothing that can break us apart in two, which is a bit redundant, but it also calls back to the unification theme on the one, and also potentially, I think, to the loss of identity on Two Hearts. But knowing where we are in this story, I think this is sort of a recontextualized version of those feelings, where instead of Kylie being absorbed into this lover, they are two equal parts of a whole. At least I hope. Track 10 is Stars. Nice. The sound of the song definitely matched the title. It felt celestial and ethereal and very beautiful. To me, electronic pop songs with a sort of wall of sound just by default evoke the night sky, so this one definitely resonated with me on that level. As I suspected, Kylie is moving faster in this relationship than her lover is, but I think that actually gives her a certain type of power. Because she found, I guess, spiritual enlightenment on the one and now can share that with her partner. There was this interesting word choice on the pre-chorus where Kylie talked about looking deep into the pockets of the universe, and The idea of deep pockets usually refers to money. The most obvious conclusion for me is that Kylie is implying that the universe has a wealth of opportunity or a wealth of love in store for her and her partner, one who is unsure of whether to move forward in this way. So Kylie's saying that her partner just needs to open himself up to access this secret place where he can find all of the love and joy that Kylie already knows is available to them and just needs to be unlocked together. Track number 11 is Wow.
Read my lips, I'm into you. I'm into you, can't resist. You're so hot, get me into the shade. Just the way that you dance, just the way that you dance. Yeah, yeah, it's to love me, baby. The way you walk, the rhythm when you're dancing. Every inch of you spells out desire. You got it, you wow, 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 wow. You got it, you wow, 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 wow.
That's really cute.
I try to stop. The more I can feel my antenna just sensing you up. You know you made it heaven. The way you walk, the rhythm when you're dancing. Now you got it. Wow, 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 wow.
Definitely an album highlight for me. That was the definition of a euphoric dance pop song. Earlier on the album, Kylie mentioned her lover being on her radar, and here on the second verse, she says, "The more I try to stop, the more I can feel my antenna just sensing you up." This is kind of a weird line and almost like a character regression. Why 2 songs from the end of the album is Kylie still resisting this love? But it adds to this feeling that Kylie knows something that her partner doesn't know. It's something that she did also on Aphrodite and Disco, where over the course of the album, she develops this sort of persona that's this almost omniscient, disembodied voice that uses music to convey her wisdom. And so from her bird's eye view, Kylie feels like her lover is completing this last stage in the infatuation process, which is falling in love. Track number 12 is Nudity.
Hang your coat up, hang your coat up. Let the steam rise in the spotlight. Alright. Are you ready to let it go tonight? Flash your confession with me. Skin to skin, body to body. Nudity. Just put a zipper on me and then work that thing out. Just expose it, cause you know it's alright. One button at a time. Who cares who sees tonight? Stand up and let me see it. Nudity.
I love that.
Fashion with me. Skin to skin, body to body. Nudity. どうたしまして。
Okay, first of all, 10 out of 10 use of a trombone on that song. All it needed was a slide whistle to round it out, but I really, really enjoyed that a lot. Definitely tongue-in-cheek, sort of like some of the earlier songs on this album. I really like the tonal balance between the intensity of her love on a song like Wow, and then something like this to offset it. This is also the second track in a row where Kylie mentions a spotlight, which of course now is because Kylie wants to take a good look at him. Before, she was using her radar and then her antenna, and now she, of course, wants to take a closer look. Again, a totally logical progression here. I guess now that they have developed this deeper emotional relationship, it makes this even more meaningful to the point where maybe she feels like this is her first time truly seeing him. On the chorus, she says, "Flash it in fashion," which one can only assume refers to his mini boombox. And this is another track produced by Bloodshy and Avant, so it could totally fit right between Freak Show and Toy Soldier on Blackout. It's got that same flirtatious tongue-in-cheek quality that's just so much fun. Alright, the final song, track number 13, is Cosmic.
Wanted to write a song called Cosmic. till laughter took the place of tears. I'm here.
Ooh, nice.
Say no one time and believe it. Oh, I wanted so much, but only needed you. I put these things aside for years. It's like I was asleep, yet now I'm here. I wanted to be able to talk without the interruption. I wanted to sing exotic words. Put these things aside for years, till laughter took the place of tears.
And that is how the album ends. A device that some albums use is that their last track will sort of break the fantasy of the rest of the album and reintroduce the listener into the real world. Mariah Carey did this on Daydream, for instance. Kylie does this from the first line of this song by reminding us of the songwriting process. She shatters the illusion and tells us that we are just listening to a song that she wrote. And she explains why this is on the pre-chorus when she says, "I put these things aside for years until laughter took the place of tears." If I had to guess, this is about her battle with cancer and how she had to put her career on hold for her health. She's telling us why this album hasn't been about conflict and strife, but about a movement closer and closer to love and joy. It's about replacing tears with laughter. And on the bridge, she tells us that this is how she's taking power back. She's telling the story that she wants to hear. As an artist, she has cosmic, almost divine power over her art and her narrative. So by making this album, she can write over her pain with joy. Overall, as I expected, this is yet another fun and positive album from Kylie. It's great escapism with a nice balance of a tongue-in-cheek sense of humor and emotional openness and sincerity. I think my favorite tracks on this album were Speakerphone and Wow. They both were so much fun and they epitomized just the awesome electronic production that's present not only on this album, but on so much of Kylie's music. This was so much fun, so thank you to all of you who recommended that I listen to this album, and as always, let me know in the comments down below what music I should react to next, and what other topics you'd like to see me cover on my channel. Don't forget to check the description for that donation link. Please subscribe to be here when I post new videos every week. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you are staying safe and healthy, and until next time, that's it.